Thank you very much. I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Iranian Elite Research Center.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. During 12th to 14th December 2015, Nigerian army personnel killed more than 1,000 innocent and defenseless civilians, including women, children, infants, students, journalists, and the sick, starting from the Husseiniya Baqiyatullah building, a cultural and religious center in Zaria, Kaduna State of Nigeria. The atrocity was extended in parallel to other sites, including the resident area of Sayyid Ibrahim Zakzaki. On the 14th December 2015, cornered at their home by Nigerian army, 3 children were shot dead. Their father, Sayyid Ibrahim Zakzaki, and mother, Zina Ibrahim, received more than 8 bullets each and were carried away.
We have the point of order. Nigeria. I give the floor to the distinguished representative of Nigeria.
Mr. President, thank you for giving me the floor. The Speaker is actually making a statement that is not correct. For the fact that the Speaker should mention what happened during the Zaria killing. Nobody killed anybody directly, as he mentioned. The 3 were killed. The 3 children of the Azazaki, it was not killed. So please bring him to order. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Do we have any other point of order? I give the floor to the distinguished representative of United States.
Thank you, Mr. President. We highlight that we firmly believe accredited NGOs must be permitted to speak in the Council. Though member states, including the U.S., may occasionally disagree with the content, it's essential that civil society voices are heard in this atmosphere of open expression. Without addressing the substance, we're of the opinion that this intervention so far does address the subject matter at hand, and we ask that you respectfully ask you to rule that the Speaker be allowed to finish his presentation. Thank you.
I give the floor to the distinguished representative of Canada.
Thank you, Mr. President. Canada firmly believes that accredited NGOs must be permitted to speak at the Council. We may occasionally disagree with statements we hear in this chamber, whether from NGOs or from other states, but it is essential to respect the Council's emphasis on open dialogue. In this case, we are of the opinion that what we have heard of the intervention so far, without endorsing the substance of the statement itself, is pertinent to the subject matter at hand before the Council, and we ask that the Speaker be able to complete its presentation.
Thank you. I give the floor to the distinguished representative of the Netherlands.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. The EU finds it important to respect the right of NGOs to take the floor and express their views, irrespective of our position concerning the substance of the statement. NGO input enriches the human rights dialogue. We believe that statements should not be interrupted because an NGO mentions concrete examples of human rights violations. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I give the floor to the distinguished representative of Latvia.
Thank you, Mr. President. My delegation believes that this Council should preserve the space of civil society, and we request to allow the Speaker to continue the statement. I thank you.
Thank you. I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Slovenia.
The EU attaches high importance to the voice of civil society. We believe that the presentation of concrete examples of human rights violations under this agenda is legitimate. States that would disagree with the content of an intervention could make use of the right to reply.
Thank you very much. I'd like to recall that the Rule 113 of the Rules of Procedure says that a representative rising to the point of order may not speak on the substance of the matter under discussion. A point of order should focus on procedural matters. I also would like to recall that when a delegation has differences with regard to the substance of what the speaker says, they can take advantage of the right of reply. So with that, I give the floor back to the speaker.
Their father, Sayyid Ibrahim Zakzaki and mother Zina Ibrahim, received more than 8 bullets each and were carried away without getting access to their doctors and lawyers to date. This inhumane action was carried out after killing and burning people, including injured ones, to death in the same house. During this military attack, the more than 1,000 people killed or gone missing, including my own brother, were attending or were on their way to performing their rituals. There are evidence for mass graves where the Nigerian military dumped the dead bodies of the unarmed religious minority Nigerian citizens. These crimes committed by the Nigerian army was aimed at destroying and weakening the minority and goes against the legal conventions which the government of my country have pledged and signed to protect. These include crime of genocide, according to Article 2 of the Convention on the Prevention and Combating the Crime of Genocide. Based on these violations and in representation of the more than 1,000 victims and their families, Mr. President, may I look to the United Human Rights Council as a springboard
Thank
for
you very much.
The following requests.
This was the last speaker on my list. I understand that a few delegations have requested to exercise right of reply, but since we are a few minutes to 6 o'clock, I'd like to close the meeting now, and after a short break, we will reconvene. So I hereby declare closed 40th meeting of the 31st session of the Human Rights Council.
After the statement by the Iranian Elite Research Center, there is no iota of truth in what a member of the research center informed this esteemed chamber. Nigeria is pained by the sad misfortune that befell some of our citizens who are members of the Shiite Islamic sect in Zaria. What happened in Zaria was a product of brazen disregard for constituted authority and impunity in the face of the law. How can a group of people belonging to a certain Shiite sect block the process of the law, block rules, and prevent the Chief of Army Staff and his convoy from aggressing and passing through a normal public road in the course of performing lawful duties? We inform Council that the leader of the sect has been known to operate a parallel administration with impunity in the face of the law in Zaria and environs, with brazen disregard for constituted authority. On the day in question, the sect barricaded streets and prevented the convoy of the Chief of Army Staff and his convoy from aggressing through what is normally a public road. We believe that constituted authority will tolerate this. Even at that, the attempts were made by the convoy to make the sect see reason to no avail. It was the sect that fired shots at the convoy, and what happened next was the convoy to defend itself. The sect stored unlicensed, sophisticated weapons in some of their buildings and places of worship and in the bush. The brazen bravado of the movement led it into replacing the Nigerian flag with a foreign flag in some parts of Zaria. Its resistance to the military authority on a lawful mission is most pathetic, unwarranted, and a flagrant disrespect for our sovereignty. In every sane and decent society, to disrespect and disregard the country's flag amounts to a high disrespect for constituted authority. The Zaria crisis was purely the culmination of an impunity taken too far and a clear example of violent extremism, which must be stopped and nipped in the bud. There is evidence of video clips to attest to this. Even this so-called NGO and their sponsors can attest that in law, one's freedom stops where another person's freedom begins. Despite the imaginary inviolability of its leaders, the ill-advised delusion of his members to defy the Chief of Nigerian Army Staff and open fire on his entourage was the height of insolence and disregard for constituted authority. What the military did was simply to assert the rule of law and constituted order. Mr. President, in line with Nigeria's transparency and accountability, the Joint Parliamentary Committees of the Army and Defense Matters have commenced inquiries into the root causes of the crisis. The Nigerian President has also convened a committee of inquiry on the matter. Where the military is found wanting, appropriate sanctions will apply, but our military will not tremble in the face of ultra-vexatious affront. No one is above the law. No matter the perceived importance in pecking order, every Nigerian is equal before the Lord. We use this opportunity to thank you, and the state will continue to perform its duty of protecting the citizens against all forms